F.com. If there's one thing we've learned from the presidential election is that some people will do whatever it takes to win. We constantly heard incidents of voter fraud taking place last November where Hillary voters were voting multiple times and buses of people were being transported into key swing counties in order to throw the vote. With voter fraud now being found in Alabama, the Alabama Secretary of State is stepping in with a move that could turn the entire election on its head. According to breaking reports, Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill is now launching a voter fraud investigation into the election of Doug Jones after a Jones supporter seemingly admitted to committing voter fraud. During a live broadcast, several of Jones's supporters made the following shocking admission, with the following statement that immediately raised eyebrows. "We came here all the way from different parts of the country as part of our fellowship, and all of us pitched in to vote and canvass together. And we got our boy elected, giving that voter fraud and Democratic candidates have a tendency to follow one another," Secretary Merrill stated to the media. Well, it's very disconcerting when someone who's not from Alabama says that they participated in our election, so now it's incumbent upon us to try to identify this young man, to see what kind of role he played, if it was to simply play a canvassing role, or if he was part of a process that went out and tried to register voters, or if he himself actually became a registered voter. When news broke of the investigation, liberal media publications and leftists lost their minds, claiming that it was a Roy Moore conspiracy because he lost the election. In response, Secretary Merrill said, "I've got to do everything I possibly can to try and find this kid and figure out what was he just exuberant in his expression? Was he overly enthusiastic about what was going on? Those things make perfect sense to me. He's a kid, probably never been on TV before. If he had, he probably hadn't been on more than a couple of times, probably never been on TV in a situation that was that intense with that much going on." The special election between Roy Moore and Doug Jones was filled with controversy and suspected voter fraud, seemed likely given how contentious and important this election was. During the election, sexual misconduct allegations surfaced, targeting Roy Moore, with one accuser claiming that as a young teen girl, Roy Moore had gotten her pregnant. There were 3 additional accusers who had gone to the Washington Post and claims against Moore that he had, in some form or another, been sexually inappropriate with them. On November 27, 2017, the Washington Post confirmed that Jamie T. Phillips, the woman claiming to have been impregnated by Roy Moore, was lying. Reporters from the Washington Post, Sean Bobberg, Aaron Davis, and Alice Kreitz, recounted their contact with Ms. Phillips, who they later learned was connected with Project Veritas.